Patreon member shout out. F you and your mom and your sister and your job and your broke down car and the stuff you call art. F you and your friends that I'll never see again. Everybody but your dog, you can all F off. Na 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 na. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Veve OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you all. And everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to title this yet, or the thumbnail that I'm going to use, but this is the math for $100 million OMI. Now, before I get started, before you say, Chavez, what are you smoking? Nothing. I don't smoke. But I will say that, full disclosure, in order for this math to work out, in order for these things to happen, which is possible, I see a 98% chance that it does not happen, and you'll see why. What is most likely going to happen? Well, we learned from Reese's last interview with Akil Patterson, aka Black Excellence, that they had just recently hired over the last couple months this person whose sole job it is to be able to go and get OMI listed on exchanges, an exchange specialist, as it were, and from Reese, straight from the horse's mouth. I don't know if he was born the year of the horse or not. Probably not. I think he's in his early 30s. I don't know what he is. Anywho, 4 to 5 exchanges over the next 4 quarters, which means 12 months. So by February 28th of next year, we should have 4 to 5 more exchanges. Now let's just go conservative and say we get 4. You know, X out of that 5th one, say 4. And let's say that there are no surprises as far as other exchanges listing us just because they want the money, which will probably happen at some point, but let's say it doesn't. Yes, exchanges can do that, exactly what happened with Gate.io. You know, Acomi didn't necessarily contact Gate.io. They're just like, hey, we're just going to list your coin. And Acomi's like, all right. So if we break that down to, let's say, 1 exchange per quarter, in 3 months would be June. So in June, let's say we get another one. And again, this is the most likely scenario. That will probably be, I think out of the 4, 2 are going to be small. One's going to be medium size, and the other one's going to be big. Most likely over the next 6 months, we'll have 2 of the small ones. Maybe 1 small, 1 medium, whatever. Either way, we'll be on more exchanges. It'll be able to go up and probably, I don't know, a couple cents by the end of the year. Because then we have one. Not only that, we have one in September, and then we'd have one in December. So yeah, that makes sense. And at that point, we're burning a lot less OMI. I know we'll probably burn maybe about the same. Not even, because I mean, let's say the coin 10x's, okay, and we're at 4 or 5 cents, whatever. The amount of people that would have to be on the app to compensate for that would also have to 10x, but getting to 25 million people by the end of the year on the app, probably not going to happen. But that being said, it might not need to. We would probably only 4x, give us to about 10 million, but also we're going to have a lot more drops and a lot more token burn that way. So yeah, in that scenario, we would not reach that $100 OMI, because most likely we would go up too fast for us to burn that much, because burning from the circulating supply, Reese had said probably full OMI utility in another 12 months as well. And that would mean, I mean, if I'm taking that when he says full OMI utility, and it doesn't mean that it'll start rolling out in 12 months. No, it will be completely rolled out. So we could start rolling out in the next couple of months. But what I take from that is that the Veveverse will be done by then. And I've made bets that we would roll out at some point this year. And when Reese goes and he says that full OMI utility, well, full OMI utility to me means that we have OMI to land. Like, we're able to buy land in the Veveverse with OMI. Because if the Veveverse wasn't rolled out, then that's not full OMI utility. So I do see towards the end of the year us being able to go and release the Veveverse after we do like the web app, after more people on MTL roll through, and after you know, we get more exchanges and all that. But I guess we'd probably have localization at that point as well. There's gonna be a lot of big catalysts. Anywho, The way that we get to $100 OMI is if we go and, God forbid, that the conflict in Ukraine with Russia and the Russian war, that whole war spills over into Europe, and all the markets are just in free fall because there is a threat of World War III, and maybe there is. I don't think that that's going to happen. Full disclosure there, but there is a small, very, very small chance that it does. And if that does, we can see OMI at 0.0004. You know, like we're getting like 3 zeros instead of the 2 that we have now. And if that were the case, well, we don't burn a billion OMI per week. We burn 10 billion OMI per week. That's heckin' nuts. We would go through that reserve wallet so heckin' quickly, and in conjunction with that happening over the next 6 months, let's say, the first 2 exchanges that we would get would have to be small, because what happened today with Bitmart, or a few days ago when Bitmart was announced, boing, OMI shot up like 20-something%, and then going sideways for the last couple of days. And what happened today? Boing, right back down where we were. We are now under that 0.004 as of the making of this video. And, well, why? It's because it's not that big of an exchange. So I'd say, and remember what I said before, 2 out of the 4 exchanges that we're going to get are probably going to be small. So let's say in June, we get a small one. And then in September, we get another small one. Well, if we're still in the bear market and a World War III is going on, which I don't expect it to, but if that does, then okay, we're burning a lot. We go up for a little bit when they announce, and we go right back down because it's not a big exchange. Obviously, towards December, like, out of the 4, if half of them are small exchanges, one's going to be a medium size. It might be like a KuCoin, a Kraken, Gemini, Crypto.com, whatever. And then one of them is probably going to be a big one. It's probably going to be a Coinbase or a Binance, something along those lines. Do I know this for a fact? No, not at all. These are things that just kind of make sense. So if that is the case, we would have, 6 months of burning and 6 months, but I mean, if we go and we have 3 zeros and we're at 0.0004, we lose enough, we chop off another 90% of where we are right now. Because again, when 3 is going on, everything would go crazy low. Well, then what happens? When we get one of those big ones, we might do a 10x and get back to where we are. And then finally, when the bull market comes, and that would come, go with a heckin' vengeance. But that's the only way I see us burning, especially from the circulating supply, about 212 billion OMI. And why that number? Because by 2030, and I'm just going to use 2030. It could happen later. It could happen, well, probably later. I use that number because Cathie Wood had estimated that by 2030, Ethereum would be a $20 trillion market cap. Now, I myself, well before she had mentioned that, like either last year or even the year before that, like 2020, I was like, yeah, it would make sense for Bitcoin to have a price of $1 million per Bitcoin by 2030. Why? Well, because we would go through 2 more bull sessions by that point. And that would only be like a 22x from here, 22x from here. And that would give it a $21 trillion market cap. What was it like 4 years ago? Where were we at, like $3,000? Well, we've done quite a lot over the last couple of years. And that's just 4 years ago. We have double that amount of time, about 8 years before 2030. 7.5, but I'll round it up to 8 for this. If we are, and there's a lot of people that say that Ethereum can flip Bitcoin. In this scenario, it doesn't. In this scenario, Bitcoin has a $21 trillion market cap, and Ethereum has a $20 trillion market cap. Again, just in this scenario, Ethereum could be higher, whatever. And for those who are saying that was too high of a number, no, that is not. A lot, like, you think that right now, all of the countries in the world, they're just never going to accept Bitcoin as legal tender? Not a chance. Not a chance. Most countries are going to do that. Maybe not over the next 8 years, but they will do that eventually, and you will have a lot more countries that are doing that. Like, I don't know, 25, 50 countries by that point. It's going to be a lot. Anywho, if that happens, then what is OMI probably going to be? Before we figure out the numbers, let's say OMI is $18 trillion behind Ethereum, where now it's what, $500 billion behind Ethereum? That gap has to, no, that gap is already pretty wide, about $500 billion, but that gap has to really widen for that. Let me get the exact math for you. I actually lied. That market cap is only $310 billion for Ethereum right now. So we are about, let's say we're at zero, because we're pretty close to that. We are at $309 billion behind it. So if we somehow lose another, we're trailing by another $17.7 trillion behind, which is a lot. That would put us at about a $2 trillion market cap. Actually, let's do this first. Let's do a $1 trillion market cap for OMI by 2030. We're 19 trillion behind, right? Well, if we have 100 billion coins left in the circulating supply, remember, like the max amount of circulating supply can only ever be 312 billion. So, like I said before, if we burn 212 billion, we have 100 billion coins left. And if that happens, well, a $1 trillion market cap, how much is that? That's really not a ton, and I'll tell you why. At a $1 trillion, I had to get the calculator out to do some math. That's really late. But a $1 trillion market cap, which is stupid conservative, is a $10 OMI. Which, well, Chavez, yeah, we've gone over that. Cavell Anderson's gone over that. But what you're talking about, a $100 OMI. Yes, I am. Well, what would it have to be for us to have a $100 OMI? Just add another zero. $10 trillion market cap. And it's like, Chavez, that's too much. That's half of what Ethereum is. That, again, we don't, Ethereum has to gain, in order to be a $20 trillion market cap, almost $20 trillion. It has to gain, 18.69, everyone comment nice down below for the 69, $18.69 billion. Or I'm sorry, $18.69 trillion. And we would only have to make about 10. That seems fairly fair to me. And that's with 100 billion tokens left in the circulating supply. That's how we get it. Now, that might not happen by 2030. It could happen later, it could happen sooner, but that's how we get it. A lot of stuff has to happen, and it has to happen short-term, a lot of short-term pain for a lot of people. Long-term people will have a field day with it because they're just going to be like, I'm just going to accumulate. They're going to make it rain and accumulate as much as they can. But if we do the things that I said, then yes, that is how we get a $100 OMI by 2030. It's not outside the realm of possibility. Again, do I think that it's going to happen? Probably not. And again, why? Because most likely over the next 12 months, by the end we should, we'll 10x from here, 4 to 5 cents maybe by the end of the year, because we're going to get 3 more exchanges, most likely. If we break it down where we don't get 5 exchanges, we just get 4, the lower part of what Reese said, and we break it down to 1 every 3 months. They're not all going to be small ones. Maybe they are. Maybe all 4 ones that we get are like Bitmart, and they're all smaller than KuCoin. I doubt it. Honestly, if that were to happen, that person that they hired should be fired, because that's ridiculous. But unless that's part of the master plan, yeah, that's would most likely. Why $100 OMI will most likely not happen is because we will rise a lot sooner than would be needed to. We would need to stay down here for a long time, but will give us a couple months. Again, we should have 3 more exchanges by the end of the year, if they're not all done at once. Anyway, that's just my whole little spin on it. Everyone please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. And everyone please check out at HateOfAdon, at King Mavs Forever. Got Standoff Chart and King Mavs over on the Veve app. Kobe Collection, Only Player 1 on the YouTube. Great X.ETH, great domain name. Pirates Vex #1 over here. We got Kobe Close down here. We got Kyle Willson, Wendy Stibalis, Puddin' Cheeks, Viva Las Vegas, Tap Trades, Mars Davis, Legacy Bermuda, Sony Pop Media, The Gale, Charles Merkel, Veve Darklink, and Veve Vibes, all on the YouTube. We got at WhatWizardVV and Gario at 1234CA3 on the Twitter, DerekBrad.com/pages/Veve-photography, and WoundedWarriorProject.org. I love y'all. Class dismissed. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.